OriginOil, breakthrough water cleanup technology. I don't believe it, but as it works out, imagine how this works out, isn't it?
It's weird.
Can you tell us how that works out, Rusty?
It's like, you've seen that State Farm is there, and then your agent shows up. Whenever we say OriginOil, the big tall bald guy shows up.
Yeah, and he's Riggs Eckelberry.
And he happens to work for the...
Yeah, and he happens to be the CEO of the company. Yeah. Fantastic. Good to see you, Riggs Eckelberry, CEO of OriginOil.
It's nice not to be on Skype.
It is nice to have you not on Skype.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good to have you in studio, as always. OriginOil, stock symbol OOIL. Their website, originoil.com. For our television audience, Chris Janicus, our director, Curtis Matovich, our assistant director, show us the website, would you? Because I don't know if you know this. Many people watch NFL football on Sundays. I do spreadsheets and look at your website. This is my form of entertainment. I don't have a life. But I'll tell you, in all seriousness, there's a lot of great resources there, and it tells you all about electro-water separation. I know we brought in a couple new cities this week on television that have never heard your story, and I know we've got some guests from Synergy Resources. We want to show a video here in a second, but give me like just the elevator pitch and what OriginOil is all about right now.
Certainly, Sully. Well, we're in this new, incredible market called Blue Technology.
Blue.
Which is not about music.
No.
Okay.
Or bad comedy.
Exactly.
Wow.
Or about democratic states.
See that? No. Blue Technology.
Water.
Yeah.
It's a $500 billion industry and growing. And basically, everything's about the water. Even the oil industry handles more water than it handles oil.
Yeah.
And really? I did not know that.
Yes.
And you may have said that before, but that just went in one ear and out the other.
The cleaning,
the oil
flushing,
industry handles more water than oil.
Far more. 5 or 10
That's
times
like surfing.
more.
There's more paddling than actual surfing.
Right.
Right? So
well, a lot more bragging, too.
There's a lot more bragging. That's fishing. But it's so interesting. I didn't know that. They handle more water than oil.
Absolutely. You could call them a water handling industry. And as a result, there's a huge amount of water that passes through their hands, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it has to be cleaned. So far, they've just been disposing it in other wells.
Yeah.
But now the world wants that water. And furthermore, if the oil companies reuse that water, they save 22 to 80% on their cost of water, which is huge.
Okay.
And is that enough to buy your stuff? Say we're going to say, if we
this is a lot of money.
This is why we have Rusty Nails on the air, because we want to have the lowest common denominator audience member.
I'm saving this much by buying your stuff.
What he's trying to say is it make it economically feasible, and is it a good business model to include your technology into their business?
So a typical rig can save $100,000 to $200,000 a month on water alone.
Okay.
That makes it well worth it, because even we are within that price range.
And did you change your name to Riggs just because it kind of sounds like you're in the oil business?
He did, because his first name was like Melvin or something. Melvin Eckelberry. And he was picked on. He was picked on as a kid. And so he got in the oil business. It's Riggs. If I'm not mistaken, when he goes into the aquaculture, it's going to be Gorton at that point.
See that?
Thank you.
There you go.
See how I did that? Gorton, fisherman.
Sure, got it. No, very funny,
Mrs.
too.
Mrs. Paul's.
I'm recovering from the laughter. I'm holding back.
Just write that one down for your next gig.
Hey, look at
I'll be right back.
So listen, we've got some friends from Synergy Resources I'm going to bring on in just a minute here, but David Ramjan, CEO, and Elvis Silochin, the president, you're going to show us a video, and then we're going to talk to the guys.
Let me set it up.
Going on. Yeah.
So you remember back in May 27th, we brought our technology to Delta, Colorado.
Right.
We had a huge showcase.
Okay.
And at that showcase were two gentlemen, the only international visitors to that showcase. And we're going to spin up this video to see what they said at that time.
Good. Let's check it out here.
My name is David Ramjan. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Synergy Resources Limited. It's a company incorporated in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is an oil and gas economy. Petroleum products and oil and gas provide about 40% of our gross domestic product. So we have a very real interest in the OriginOil clean-frac technology. In Trinidad, we have a very well-developed suite of environmental legislation that, as far back as 2001, the water pollution rules came into effect, and the oil and gas companies are finding it very difficult to meet the standards of those water pollution rules. So we see the clean-frac technology as being a really comprehensive solution that could treat produced water from the wells to a standard that will be acceptable by the environmental legislation in Trinidad and Tobago. This technology has the potential to solve a major problem. We're really excited to be partnering with OriginOil. We are happy to look at this technology as a source of dealing with the issues associated with oil and gas exploration and production. If we can do it, and do it in a more responsible fashion, and do it in a way that we can mitigate some of the environmental impacts, we think we are in a win-win situation.
Yeah, and what a shining endorsement. And the gentleman that you saw talking on the screen there is David Ramjan. He's the CEO of Synergy Resources, and the gentleman standing next to him, Elvis Silochin, the president. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the Big Biz Show. Good to have you in studio.
Thank you very much.
So you look awfully different with your suit on. I like you better like this. So first of all, will you describe for our audience what Synergy Resources does? Just give us sort of a 50-cent tour of what you guys are all about, and then I'll let Riggs take over and talk about what you two are doing together.
Sure. Fantastic to be here. Thank you very much for having us, and thank you to Riggs for giving us the opportunity. Synergy Resources Limited, in a nutshell, is a company that's focused on providing products and services for sustainable development, focusing on developing the green economy. So ultimately what we do is we seek out the best technology, the best products, the best services that can allow us to continue our economic activity in a manner that does not prevent future generations from deriving the same or better benefits from the natural resources that we all share.
Okay, so and what we saw in the video here, which I think is important, is that there is a disconnect between what is required with respect to water cleanup and what is actually available right now, and OriginOil fills that gap, right?
Exactly.
Talk to us, Riggs. Why don't you fill in how you guys?
Well, exactly, and you know, and I really want to thank these gentlemen for having believed in us from the beginning, from 2013, really. And here we are today. And in fact, this morning we announced that our licensee, Industrial Systems of Delta, received a purchase order from you with an initial payment for 4 industrial-sized systems that will be deployed in Trinidad and Tobago.
That's fantastic news, and I think for you that's a real milestone for OriginOil. Correct?
Well, it's because licensing's wonderful, except you have to wait.
Sure.
And so to have a licensee actually work with a company on the ground like Synergy that has wonderful connections, and Trinidad and Tobago is on top of a huge oil reservoir. All the majors are there, and it's actually a back door to all the major oil companies through their relationships.
Here's my question, real quickly. Does this go to more proof of concept for you guys?
Oh, absolutely, it does. These, they had to do due diligence to lead to this. ISI itself, our licensee, had to be happy that they could deliver because they don't want to endanger their reputation. So all in all, it's a chain of validation for OriginOil's technology.
Well, I think, and guys, I'm going to keep you on just for a second here. I'm going to take a quick break, but when I come back, I want to talk about exactly what you see as the key benefit here for you folks. The name of Synergy Resources. Of course, OriginOil's with us. Riggs Eckelberry, of course, CEO, stock symbol OOIL. OriginOil.com. And with Synergy Resources, David Ramjan, the CEO, and Elvis Silochin, the president here. Moving and shaking. OriginOil, you can't keep them down. Rusty Nails hopefully has left the building at this point. I'm just going to finish the show with these guys. Coming up, Riggs Eckelberry with OriginOil in studio with us today. Good to have you back in studio there, Riggs. OOIL is their stock signal. This whole thing started as birth of a public company. Small caps are people too. We wanted to kind of follow because we have access to the CEO of a company, and look what's happened in the last year. You guys have really, what you started out as, and I'm not to say that you actually changed anything, but you guys focused on different verticals to the point where you've dialed in an unbelievable change in your business model. Because if the first time I interviewed you, you had these verticals in place, but now you're actually implementing all of them.
I think that's the truth.
Which is, I mean, well, because there's always vision, like, okay, this is what we're planning on doing, this is what we've done so far, and what we'd like to do, and then all those we'd like to do's are actually happening for you guys now.
Yes, well, in oil and gas, we freed up Bill Charneski to be the president of the oil and gas division, put him in Houston, and we started to do deals nonstop. Meanwhile, there's great developments in China, as I told you last week, around when Nicholas went to China and opened that up for the frac water cleanup. So oil and gas is well underway. At the end of this month, we are at the Algae Biomass Organization Summit
exciting
here in San Diego.
Really?
Yes.
Oh boy, we have to send a camera crew out there.
Why not?
Have you follow around. Very good. Hey, in studio with us today, Riggs has brought down a strategic partner of theirs, Synergy Resources Limited. David Ramjan, the CEO, and Elvis Silochin, the president. Guys, before I let you out of here today, tell me the benefit of striking the deal with OriginOil and getting their technology in with your business.
Well, it's hard to quantify the benefit. Really speaking, we found OriginOil for their algae harvesting technology. That's another of our core business areas that we're focusing on. But when we visited them last June in 2013, we saw the prototype of the clean-frac. And on seeing the prototype, we realized, this is something we need to watch. And we started tracking it since then, simply because Trinidad and Tobago has been an oil-producing nation for over 100 years. We have a lot of oil production and exploration going on. We're more a gas economy now than we are an oil economy, but we have very mature reservoirs, and there's a lot of produced water that comes up along with the crude. And our suite of environmental legislation requires that this water be treated before it can enter the environment, before it's disposed.
Is there American investment coming into your country?
Yes.
At an increased rate? Because I would anticipate, based on what you just said, just because of the oil and gas, and particularly gas, there must be more American investment coming your way.
Of course. There's a lot of foreign direct investment coming in from the U.S. into Trinidad and Tobago in a number of areas. Trinidad and Tobago has partnerships with, for example, in our Atlantic LNG plant, we are one of the largest LNG producers and exporters in the world. I don't know what the situation is right now, given that America has the shale gas revolution happening. Sure. But at one point in time, we were the largest supplier of LNG to the U.S. And we have all the major multinational oil and gas corporations operating in Trinidad. There's BP and BG and Repsol and BHP Billiton, Centrica, EOG Resources. I mean, you name it, we have it.
One last quick question for you. How many companies like yours are in your country?
Like ours?
Yeah, like yours specifically. Do you have a lot of competition?
We're the only one.
You're the only one?
Yes.
That's fantastic, which is good. They give you a proprietary advantage. And you're not publicly traded yet, right?
No,
we
not
need to work
yet.
on that. Okay, I got a guy that knows a guy that needs to talk to you. What is your website, folks?
It's www.synergyresourcesltd.com.
There you go. Guys, thanks for coming on the air. I appreciate that. Synergyresources.com is the website. And, of course, David Ramjan, the CEO, Elvis Silochin, the president. And do you have back nails? Where you been this whole time?
The UPS showed up. I got the new iPhone 70. I'm good for 64 years on this one.
That's nice.
Huh?
Riggs, that's exciting news, man. I mean, you have to be. I mean, you've got a new proof of concept, and now you have a partner, another international partner. What's in the next couple of minutes here? Tell us what's next for you guys, because or do you even have? I mean, I know you have a strategic plan, but it's coming at you so fast. I mean, at this point, you guys have become more of a multinational company than you probably have ever imagined.
Well, I became an exec in the .com, and that was like you join a company, and 4 minutes later, hey, you just got sold.
Yeah, right.
So I'm used to this kind of stuff. So what we're doing right now is jumping on opportunities. We have that great partnership in Oman with
Oman.
Indeed, Gulf.
Yeah.
I'll scratch that.
Yes.
With Gulf Energy, and they are planning to make a major investment as well. And then we have some as you know, major demos planned in Texas of our technology with STW. So the more we demonstrate, the more there are these sales. It has a multiplying effect.
That's why I'm here to help, because you're going international, and when you get in Australia, Canada, I can translate that language for you and help you
Australian,
understand. Absolutely.
New
I've
Zealand,
got them nailed.
Canadian.
You just right here for
With those
Britain.
Sheilas.
Yes.
Yes.
G'day.
Fantastic.
Hey, Riggs, let's talk about the oil and gas. What David's talked about, the shale revolution here. I've never heard anybody put it that way, but that's exactly what's happening here, isn't it?
Well, it's changing everything, because the more the oil industry is proceeding, the more it's finding that they can get oil from just about anywhere, and from what they call the source rock.
Right.
And of course, Texas, New Mexico, all the way up in the Bakken, Colorado. It's
the Bakken in North Dakota, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what about some of these countries you're going into? Do they frack in Italy?
China.
China fracks?
Wow.
China's going nonstop. flat out.
Can this is something I've never asked you, and only because in my investment banking background and venture capital background, there is a philosophy and a concept called barrier to entry before you invest in anything. And what that means is what kind of barrier to entry into the marketplace does your proprietary advantage or technology create? And what basically that means is, let's say Russ does his Gundramat, okay, which is a gun and laundry cleaning all in the
While
same
you're
place.
waiting.
What's going to keep somebody from coming in, a bigger company, a bigger laundromat, from duplicating the idea? And at that point, you have to defend your patent. For you guys, at some point, the black helicopters are going to show up outside your office. What kind of barriers to entry? You guys have a lot of patents around this thing, right?
Well, absolutely. And the key in a place like China is the relationships with the power cliques. Alibaba's IPO has a number of unnamed Chinese nationals who are, benefiting from it.
Yeah.
So, it's all about the relationships.
Yeah.
And certainly we are working at that level. But at the end of the day, there is copying. And it's a great story. This guy wrote a book called Microsoft Secrets. And they gave him unlimited access for that book. And he said, why? He says, in a year, it won't matter.
It's not going to matter. Well, yeah, if you follow OriginOil, you're going to realize a year from now, they're going to be further along than they are now. Riggs, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for bringing on the guys from Synergy. We'll put all that stuff up. In fact, all of this will be available at originoil.com or on our website, bigbizshow.com.